Welcome to You, Me and IT, the podcast taking us behind the title of some of the leading individuals in the IT channel. I'm Karlton Gray, UK and Ireland Channel Director at Schneider Electric, and in each episode I'll be speaking to leading figures in one of the UK's most prominent industries. My guest in this episode is a stalwart within the IT channel and is well loved by many, having worked in distribution and resellers, a far cry from where his professional career started. Since then, he has shaped a lot of the processes that we support day to day. Welcome Chris Leng, General Manager, Distribution and Vendor Relationships at SCC.
Thank you.
So we always start the podcast off with where you from, where'd you grow up, brother, sister, whatever that may be. So talk to me, tell me.
I'm the eldest of six kids, six siblings. I've got four brothers, one sister. Love them all very, very, very dearly. Mum and dad are great. Born in Reading. I've had a very interesting life so far.
That's why you're here today.
Yes, thank you. It's been fun, you know. I up until the age of about 11, I wasn't really sporty. I was more creative than sporty. Didn't really get into that kind of thing in school. And when I was 11, I decided to get into the theatre, into musical theatre. One of my friends decided that he was going to go for an audition for Bugsy Malone. And he asked me to tag along with him for moral support. And I did, and it was great. I loved it. Got a part in the show. It was a very small part, but actually for me, it took me out of a school environment that I wasn't necessarily thriving in into something that I actually quite enjoyed. That was my thing. So I did that for all of my teenage years, really. And for me, it set me on a path that actually of being more creative than sporty, and that was always something that I wanted to do. Interestingly, now I'm now trying to find that thing for my own kids.
My daughter was terrible. I would say that's bad because she'll hear this at one point and go, "No, I wasn't." But went to gymnastics, barely could do a roly-poly. Went to hockey. I just thought it's dangerous for the other kids whacking the stick, and went to football. Used to wear a big puffer jacket with a hat. All the other kids got football kits on, and she's finally found, she's amazing at it, is she goes to a dance stroke theatrics centre on a Saturday and does that, and it's amazing now because Frank, my boy, is running up and down the football pitch. He's just naturally good at sport. Yeah. But Darcy, it took her a while, but now she is. It's unbelievable just to sit there and watch her develop that. So
honestly, I think it's a really good environment for confidence, for engaging with people. For me, it worked. Back to your point, all my siblings, they're all super sporty. You know, golf and football, and I think my dad my dad did coach one of my brother's football teams. For me, it was not my thing, you know. So yeah, for me, it was something that I really enjoyed doing. Not so much now though. For me now, it's all about work. It's I'm very much focused on the job that I do and making a name for myself in the IT market. Right.
That in between gap. So obviously you went and done the audition.
Yeah.
Got Bugsy Malone. So how that was? You were 11 or 12?
11. Yeah, I was 11 years old.
Did your mate get a part?
Yes, he did. He got a bigger part than me.
Okay, that's
yeah, okay. I got the smallest part.
Okay,
of the whole
that's
show.
fine. But if your mate rocked up, and you just went, tell you what. But I suppose so. Then did you go to college or uni, or what was the next steps that you did?
So I did obviously GCSEs at school. We were second year of GCSE, so it was all relatively new for us. Did my GCSEs, and then I went to college. And again, there's a bit of a theme here. I followed one of my friends thought I was following one of my friends to college. It wasn't the structured environment that I was used to, and didn't really last very long there. So I bowed after about 9 months. And it was really interesting for me because then I went to work. I went to work in finance. I didn't. I was a bank teller. You know, I was doing admin in a high street bank. It was, but it was a good good move for me at the time, because I needed to get into an environment where I was earning money and I wanted to be self-sufficient. And, you know, being the eldest of 6 kids, I never wanted to be that financial draw on my parents. I wanted to look after myself. I wanted to do stuff, right? Even when I was very young, me and my best friend, we used to go and knock on people's doors and ask them to mow their lawns or wash their cars. You know, we were called Auto Sparkle. I don't know why I did that, by the way. Auto Sparkle, that was our brand name. But we just go and clean cars on a Saturday, and then Saturday evening we'd go to the cinema and basically spend all the takings. It was brilliant.
Sorry to cut you. Do you know the randomest thing is?
Go on.
I also dropped out of college because I hated it.
Yeah,
It was just like, there was no structure. You could come in at whatever time, do your lessons, and
or not
sit around. There was no someone there whipping me. And then I got a job as a photocopier at Abbey National, which is Bank of Santander in Aldgate. And then, like you said, knocking on doors, car washing. Me and my mate Daniel Fig, like we used to go round with a bucket washing cars, like just to get money at first. But what I mean by that is that was when I was a bit younger, by the way. I didn't do that after, but we used to, but what stopped us is there was a geezer. You know, when you knock on the door and you think, I'm not getting in your house to get any water. He took us out. His whole car was covered in bird crap.
Nice.
And I was like, and then he was like, do you want to come in and get, no one ever invites you in to get water. And we were like, nah, we're okay.
Mate,
we're back in a minute. We're just going to speak to, off we went and found another job doing something else. But yeah, sorry I was like,
no.
Similarity there.
We've
worked in, I call it, like I said, I used to say I want to be a stockbroker, I want to work in a bank or something like that. And I wasn't. I was photocopying. Like,
do you know what? I actually did want to. I wanted to. My first, when I was really young, I thought I wanted to be a stockbroker. I wanted to move into that kind of high-paced environment. Don't know why. I don't know what my point of reference was, but that was. I'd heard the stories. Yeah, it was all about going and earning money. But I did that for about 5 years, and I wasn't a massive fan. My cousin worked there; she actually helped me to get the job there. But it wasn't me. It wasn't what I wanted to be known for. So I left there. Ironically, my parents have always had a big bearing on my career, what I've been doing. My parents were away on holiday. And at the time, I was kind of working part-time for an American-themed TGR Fridays. And I loved it. It was brilliant. It was such a good environment. It was very sociable. You know, you're obviously doing a job, but it was very sociable. But the standards and the methodology that they used was brilliant. I still use a lot of it today. You know, they taught you how to upsell and cross, and it was commission based, upsell and cross sell.
In TGI Fridays,
honestly, but it was because you were salespeople that was commission based. Yes, of course, you know, you had a basic and there was tips, but it was a really good environment. It was the first American themed restaurant in the UK.
I never knew that.
It was incredible.
People get tips. I saw tips, but the whole upselling element.
Oh yeah,
mate, that's
because you're commission based. You're trying to find how to increase. You know, do you want fries with that?
Yeah, but you didn't. You just thought, do you want? They were being nice.
Oh no, well, but that was always part. That was all part of it. It was they used to call it puppy dog. Puppy dog selling. You would basically come down to so I'm giving all the tips away for TGR Fridays. You'd come down to the customer's level and speak to them. You know, that's why people would crouch down. It was about speaking to the customer on a level, and you would create a much better relationship with them because you're actually talking to them face to face. You know, there were things like the theories that they would use. You know, even about the pens in your pocket. You had to have 3 pens: one to use, one to lose, and one to lend. Like, right, okay, well that makes sense. There was if you were early to your shift, if you were early, you were on time. If you were on time, you were late. If you were late, that was unacceptable. You know, it's all of these methods still stick with me today, like 30 years later. That for me, it was a brilliant way to learn the craft. Albeit you're selling steaks and burgers, but it was all about the upsell. And then I left TGI, left the bank, went to TGI's. And I was there for probably 6 months, and I came to a bit of a crossroads in my life because I'd done, musical theatre up until this point in my spare time, and it was amateur theatre. It was great environment. Had made some lifelong friends. That kind of set me off on a path where I like the music industry. I like performing arts. I wanted to do something there, but also wanted to improve my career position. I'd applied because of my time at the bank. I'd applied back to university to go in as a mature student, which ironically I didn't actually need to have any A-levels. I could apply to go in. Because of my time in the performing arts, my mum had sent off a demo tape, an application to a record company that were auditioning for a new boy band. So I sent off an application to audition for this boy band. It was a demo tape and a photograph. And a few weeks later, my mum actually put it all together. She sent it off in the post with my sister, and I got an audition. I got invited up to London for an audition. It was all advertised through the Evening Standard. The other media picked up on the story. There was about 8,000 people there that auditioned for this new boy band. And it was a really interesting time because when we turned up to the audition, the BBC were there because they were filming a documentary, because we were the first publicly manufactured boy band in the UK. And it was kind of a bit of an expose on the music industry. So I auditioned, I sang my song.
What song was it?
Love Me For A Reason, the old Osmonds hit. I think it was more of a Boys than nod, but Love Me For A Reason. It was either that or Never Gonna Give You Up. I didn't like that song.
I know everyone goes, I don't like that song, but at home they're like, Never Gonna Give You
Up. I'm not a big fan of 80s music. No, don't get me wrong, I like Rick Astley now that he's come out. I think he's good. But so I did my audition. Then I went back for an interview. Met the guys from the record label and the management. The record label and the management company were exactly the same people. And met with the guys. Had a good interview. Then, probably 4 weeks later, I got a phone call to say, look, we'd like you to come up for another chat. And that chat was to meet the other guys in the band. And I'd managed to get through, be 8,000 people. I think it was 8,500 people to get a place in the band. And it came without kind of promise or, and we got a relatively small income from being part of the band. But for me, it was one of those experiences you'd probably pay to do, right?
Yeah.
It was amazing. And so did it for 3.5 years. It was incredible. Met some incredible people. Went some incredible places. Was on Top of the Pops twice. Big breakfast. Did a royal gala performance thing with Prince Charles was there.
Looking up the sky.
Honestly, it was the most incredible. It was the most incredible experience. But it was hard work. And it was very lonely, and it was, there's the documentaries on the BBC at the moment. It's a very much an expose on that life. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't a boo-hoo, woe is me.
Still had a good time.
I had an amazing time, and like I said, it wasn't about the money. It was about the experience and the people that I met, and I was a product. I was the product. And don't get me wrong, I was also selling the product. Whether that was to my peers or to the industry or to journalists and media, I was a product that I was trying to sell.
How old was you when you were doing that?
So I was, I think I joined when I can't remember what I told the press at the time. I think I was 21.
Okay.
I think I was 21.
Just because I like to do things in the background. So I found out that you was in a band 2 days ago.
Oh, right.
So
Okay.
I've not known for a long time. But yesterday when I messaged to make sure that you were coming, I started with, change your mind. Have you changed your mind? Because I thought a little bit of
I didn't pick up on that.
a little dig. But I thought,
I didn't pick up on that.
I thought a little dig, just Just the...
But that's the funny thing, right? I mean, I know that we connected through work, right?
Yeah.
But it was not the thing that defines me. It was like, hi, Karlton, I'm Chris Leng. I'm an ex-pop star, and it wasn't about that. It was about I never wanted what I did prior to SCC to define me. And I've always been very clear on that. I've worked for people for 25 years.
And they don't know.
They probably still don't know until this goes out. For me, I purposely or consciously compartmentalised what I did. If you want to ask a question about it, I'll tell you. I'll share the experience, and you probably won't shut me up. But for me, it's there in the box, and I bring it out on special occasions. But it's not the thing that defines me. For me, the thing that defines me is what I want to do, what I want to be famous for now. And I think, touch wood, doing all right.
Famous for being in the IT chat.
Do you know what? But actually, I get far more satisfaction, far more. I feel prouder of what I've achieved now than anything that I did previously. Although it felt like that I'd been working for 10, 12 years to get to that point. Now I've been working 26, and I feel that actually this is my calling. I like people. I like the company that I work for. I like the people that I work with and the people that I work with outside of the. Do you know what I mean? It's an incredible environment, incredible industry, and people talk about the channel and channel personalities. That for me is what keeps me here, right?
Yeah, I think when I first met you, and that was on the back of on a call, that was like, oh no, this call is going to be horrible because of problems and bits and pieces. But I think it was a particular order. And I got brought onto the call, and I thought, oh my God, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
And I was like, you're super normal. And sometimes you don't expect that. You expect to have someone that's just gonna be reading off a book. And it was almost like, how can we work together to sort this solution, rather than your fault. And I was like, be good to. I think it was. I said, can we get Chris on the podcast? Like, it'd be nicer because he seemed like he's in a super position, but he's super normal. He's super grounded. He's not got bells and whistles. No disrespect, but he was just still like someone that just talks to you on a level and says, "This is what the outcome is."
I've got great jazz hands though.
Yes, all right. They're soft as well from a keyboard. Yeah,
I thought that earlier.
Oh, but I've got soft hands. My wife's got more calluses on her hands than I have. So yeah, it says a lot. But the music thing finished around 24, 25, you'd say?
Yeah, it was about 24. Yeah.
And then you came back with Orange, done more research.
God, that is proper research.
Don't you worry.
Well, and do you know what? That's an interesting story in itself. That we'd had some relative success. 96 was our year. 95 we got into the band. 96 was the year that the magic happened.
I was 12.
Yeah, brilliant. 97 was a which way do we go? What's the direction? We did reform. We renamed as Orange, and there were legal reasons. We were called Orange because we wanted something that was just a random word that actually didn't define us as.
Do you know, I googled it and to find out a bit of information. The worst name, by the way. Just got loads of oranges come up.
What colour is an orange?
Orange.
Yeah.
Just loads of orange come up.
Yeah. But it's the only word that actually,
No,
anyway, it's not orange. But it was actually one of the guys in the band. His sister, who was I think 12 or 13 at the time, and she came up with a band name. It was because we just wanted to have a name that just didn't define what we were trying to do. And ironically, we released a single called Beautiful Day. It was probably the best track that we released. It was probably the best track. Didn't even chart. We couldn't get the distribution rights into to get the record into the shops. So we decided after a lot of soul searching to call it a day and go our separate ways. And that was kind of early '98.
So what's the next chapter in?
Sorry, this is a name drop moment, and I apologise. So when we were in the band, we did a TV show, and on the TV show there was Dave Jones from the Monkees and Les McKeown from the Bay City Rollers. And I always remember it because it was quite a defining moment for me, because they were talking about life after music. And Les McKeown, he basically said, what are you going to do? Actually, it was David Jones. He said, you got to treat what you're going through now as Saturday night. But believe me, you will wake up on Sunday morning and it'll all be over. And that for me was the biggest lesson to and I didn't realise it at the time, but actually it came to an end. Sunday morning came along, all right, I might have had a line, but Monday I was straight into the recruitment agency. So for me, it was a really interesting, I knew that I had to get back on that horse. Work ethic, I'd always had a strong work ethic from, and I was born from my parents from a very early age, but plus I was the oldest sibling and clearly wanted to set the example. I wanted to be the person that, yes, I can do this and jazz hands.
Yeah.
Or I can go back into work. I need to get back onto it. So I was sat on the train on the Monday morning, going to a recruitment agency because I had to. I had to dust myself down and get on with it. And for me, that was quite empowering. For me, it's always been something that I'm kind of proud of in my own career progression, that I've taken some knocks, but I've come back swinging. I've come back and gone into a completely different environment where I can make my own thing.
So IT wise now, because you've obviously been at SCC for Specialist Computer Centre, for those that don't know, for a long time.
Yeah.
Was there anyone before that?
So when I went to the recruitment agency, I did get a small. I got an opportunity, and it was a temping opportunity for about 4 weeks, and it was great. It was in an IT company that they don't exist in the UK anymore, but it was on their help desk.
Yeah.
I wasn't technical, but it was all about speaking to end customers, and triaging level one some of the challenges. They offered me a job in sales. It wasn't for me. And I went back to the recruitment agency. And interestingly, at the time, they said to me, we can get you a job in this organisation, distribution business. Get a year under your belt, come back to us, we'll get you a proper job. Interestingly, a year later, that organisation was gone. But for me, it was the start of my 26-year career. And I joined the distribution business that was part of the SCH group, Specialist Computer Holdings Group. I joined the distribution business, and I worked for initially for the QDIS brand, QDIS was one of the first original HP distribution partners in the UK. QDIS then merged with a company called Elite Computers, and we became Interchange Distribution. And Interchange was the kind of the sister arm to ETC. ETC was the original distribution partner within the SCH group. Interchange were more mid-market, and it was a great environment to learn the trade. And I did 10 years there. I did 9 years sales management, a year to get to that point, and I loved it. Absolutely, really loved it. It was a great environment, great people. Met my wife there, and yeah, it was just a really good environment to learn the ropes, learn about customers, drivers and the challenges. And so I did that for, like I said, 10 years. Then I moved into a group role initially, looking after the HP brand, and then we divested the distribution business. The end point for me was, or the nirvana, the pinnacle of that tenure was picking up the award for global partner for the new style of IT in Vegas. That for me was a brilliant kind of swan song, if you like. And then I moved into a role where I looked after everything, all vendors, apart from our top alliance partners. And it was all about putting some structure and standardisation in and governance into that big long tail of vendors outside of our key alliances.
Sorry, I'm smiling. The reason why I'm smiling, not just showing my teeth at the camera, but it's and my wife said the same, is when you're in the IT channel, what it gives you is so many experiences.
Yeah.
And you just glossed over that you just went to Vegas
Yeah.
as part of the, do you know what I mean? Like and I think a lot of people have been travelled all over the world because of this channel, but people just go, yeah, I just popped to Vegas, went to Finland, I went to Miami. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
completely.
So anyone outside the industry would go, oh, IT, boring. Like, you know what I mean? It's not wow. But actually, without IT, we wouldn't be here for a start. But also, the experience it gives you by being in the IT channel is, I appreciate you travelled before, but Joe Blogs, me on the street, I've travelled around the world and I don't even realise it. I looked at my passport the other day and I was like, I've got 14 stamps from last year. And I was like,
you need more pages.
But it was almost but it's just normal now, and it's really weird.
And it is horrible when you do that and you feel blasé. Is that the word?
Yeah,
but you feel, and But actually, that is life. I'm quite fortunate that my wife is in the channel as well. There's a comprehension there that she understands an empathy. She understands the job that I do and why I have to do it, and she grounds me. I've got to be honest. She definitely grounds me. Keeps it real.
Yeah, I don't. Kate doesn't do anything. I wear the trousers at home.
I wear the trousers because my wife tells me to.
Yeah, basically, I'm in the same camp as you, so don't you worry. But so, like you said, you've been at SCC. What is your sort of role now?
Well, so I suppose the move from when I looked after the big long tail of vendors outside of our alliance partners, looked after that, and it was all about introducing structure and standardisation, governance. We wanted to make sure that we were aligning ourselves to the vendors that were core to the solutions that we were taking to market. And I used to use this quite a lot. In the AV world, AV, unified comms, collaboration, it can be a bag of bits, and that's sorry to anybody but it can be a bag of bits. But actually, our value is about combining that. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Yeah.
It's about the solutions that we take to market. But within that bag of bits, you might have a bracket manufacturer or some cables, or and actually that's where these things start to come to life. And for me, moving into a distribution focused role, I still carry a number of smaller vendors, primarily in the AV and workspace camp. But for me, it was about understanding the relative importance to those vendors as part of an overall solution stack, if that makes sense. And for me, it was your bracket manufacturer is quite important, because if something happens, that you can't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it was about understanding the value. It wasn't just about the size of the prize. It was about the relative importance of the value to that component, if that makes sense.
So when I used to I didn't look after you guys at Midwich, but I just always remember POs, and those are the days when you had to print off POs.
Yeah, stand by the fax machine.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But I just remember the triangles on the brand.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
the sale.
Yeah. So now you look after a couple of smaller vendors. So what's your day to day now?
So primarily it's distribution focused role. For me, it's really interesting. When I was looking after the vendor piece, distribution, because I didn't necessarily have a team of people. I did have a small team, but I didn't have a team of people looking after that big long tail of vendors. We were talking about 2,000 vendors, and actually they became distribution managed. So for me, it was about making sure that I knew where to leverage the value, how to get the right price, and so to move from that role where I was working with distribution to bring those vendors to life, to looking after distribution. The person that used to look after distribution in our business retired, and so actually it was a great opportunity to move into that role. And I've been doing it for 4 years now, and it's really interesting. I mean, it's another element of the IT channel that I find fascinating. There's some really good people out there. I work with on a daily basis.
Next question, just chuck at you. You said you don't want to be, your legacy is behind you.
Yeah.
But what's your definition of success now? So what is that for you?
I read a meme once, and it was and I don't know whether this is true. There's a lot of fake news, you know, but it was a story about John Lennon talking about he was in school and the teacher asked him what he wants to be when he's older, and he says, I want to be happy. And the teacher says, you don't understand the question. And John Lennon turns around and says, no, you don't understand life. Now, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, right? And for me, that's to me is what success is. It's about being happy in your skin, about being happy what you do day to day, being happy in your relationship. That for me is the thing that actually keeps me going, keeps me doing what I do. I just want to be happy, you know. And I know happy is actually a really rubbish word.
Oh, it's not.
But it's so important to me.
It's like that word, and I've said it before time and time again, kind. It's just people go, when I look for people to join our team, I'm like, is that person? I know you can't tell people that they're kind or not, but being kind, doing basic things, being kind, it's nothing. Spending 5 minutes talking to someone, when they're feeling a bit up and down, it's just, like you said, little things that you might say, you look back on your career and you want to be known for that. But yeah, that's a big part of my structure about employing people.
I think it's really, really important. And actually, being happy actually is kind of contagious, right? Actually, if you've got a smile in your face and you're enjoying life, you know, people say to me, they almost criticise me for being too optimistic. Of course I'm optimistic, because I'll always look for the good in the bad. For me, it's about maintaining a good sense of balance and achievement. You know, it's about
my friends tend to
be happy.
My friends tend to look for an angle where, in the bad, that they can terrorise you about. So regardless of whatever happens,
I
the
get
good
that
or bad,
too.
they will be short, my teeth, bald, anything they can get me with, put on a bit of weight. No one says when I've lost any weight, they go, oh, you're all right, mate.
Do you know what? And it was actually Phil Ashby. So I can't do banter.
Yeah,
I struggle with banter.
Yeah,
and I tried it once, and I actually tried it on Phil Ashby, and I remember the conversation, and it was on the phone. And I phoned about 5 minutes later. I'm really sorry, I didn't really read that. I'm rubbish at banter.
He's very good at banter, to be fair to him.
Which is probably where I was trying to emulate the style. You know, you have those conversations where you're trying to emulate the style of the person that you're speaking to, but oh my God, I was rubbish at it.
But he's a good bloke, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
So what are 3 words that people say would describe you personally and professionally? Actually, what would they describe, and what would you describe yourself?
Resilient, passionate, and I don't know what the word, but for me, integrity is really important. You know, maintaining that an awareness of ethics, morals, values. You know, that kind of family values is really, really important. That's how I would like to be. That's how I'd like to be perceived. From a work perspective, probably a workaholic. Strong work ethic.
But you
honest.
I bet you say to other people as well, make sure you have a work-life balance. And
so this is a really interesting one. So for me, people talk about mentors, and you know, it's good for somebody that wants to progress their career to get a mentor. And I've been privileged. I've been lucky enough to be asked by individuals to give them guidance and support along their way. But actually, a lot of that guidance is kind of, don't copy my work ethic. I want you to find
Create
your own.
Yeah.
What I will do for you, though, is I will be your biggest cheerleader. I will help
you. Got to be.
You know, I will help you find your way. And that, for me, is almost far more valuable, you know, because somebody's, you know, they know their path, they know what's right, they know what's... But actually, I will help to give them the confidence to know that that is the right direction. But for somebody else looking at me, I think it's hardworking. It's about it's trust, it's integrity. You know, they're the kind of things.
What do you want your legacy to be?
I think, going back to what I was saying just now, I think for me, I want to leave a legacy where people say that I've helped to support their careers in some small way. You know, it's not just about giving somebody a job and and they take that and grow on their career. It's about being a constant part of their IT journey. To help support and nurture and develop and grow their own capabilities. You know, I'd like to think that there are people that can, or there will be people that will turn around and say, yeah, Chris, he was a good guy, but actually it wasn't just because he was a good guy, it was because he's nice or kind or happy. It's because there were some demonstrable things that I gave them within their career to help them on their path, on their journey. Does that make sense?
I know what you mean. I love it now with the people that you've worked with for a long time, and some of the short times that engagement isn't a handshake; it's more of a cuddle. If that it makes you feel like you're actually part of a lot of the people that I see now. What I'll class as friends within the channel, it's almost like, "How you doing, mate?" And it's not a "How are you? How's business?" It's more, "How are you?" first, and we'll talk about that. And because you've got that relationship with them, you don't necessarily have to go back into that. What's going on? How are you growing? It's more, how are you getting on? How's your health? How's your wife? Whatever you know about that person, and then you sort of have that broadened chat rather than.
I think it's so important. You know, I'm not a technical guy. I'm really not a technical guy, but I do like relationships. And I say this a lot, where if you've got a relationship with somebody, you can have those uncomfortable conversations. Going back to the first time we first met, you're right. It was we were trying to overcome a challenge, and it wasn't the most comfortable conversation to have. But actually, we worked through it, and we actually did a really good job. I've got to be honest. We got to the right kind of outcome. But if you've got a relationship with somebody, you can have that uncomfortable conversation, that 3 a.m. phone call to say the world is falling apart. If you haven't got a relationship, that could be terminal. And for me, like I said, I'm not technical, but having the relationships with people is the thing that makes me helps me get by. It's so important. Probably undervalued in the corporate world, right? But it is so important.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So,
I suppose I'll end it with a customary handshake, but thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.